What up, y'all? Welcome to the Gunslinger Gaming Frosty Pints podcast. Tonight we have a full house. With me is Dr. Masami, Omega, and Sophie. How y'all doing tonight?
Good. Happy New Year!
First podcast.
First podcast of 2020.
Celebrating the first cold of the year. Oh yeah. Good
Yeah,
time.
that's right. Masami and I both have the sniffles.
Oh,
Yeah. It's reached my sinuses, so that's why I'm an octave or two lower than normal.
I'm just
Good.
super
You should just
manly.
pick up a guitar and start your singer-songwriter career now.
Apparently.
right.
This means I need to
And see-
record all my bass lines now, and then I
Smelly cat, smelly cat.
You see this shit, Crinkle? A little cold doesn't fucking stop us. So the next time, it shouldn't stop you. Yes, I'm calling your ass out.
Crankhole, we see you idling in Discord. And Zero, we're not gonna forget. Oh, by the way, Zero finally gave me the Pornhub credentials, so GS has a Pornhub account.
God.
We can upload there in the year of 2020 if we would like to, and I highly suggest that we do.
I will leave that up to you. That one's all
Okay.
you. I mean, I just had to delete a whole bunch of spam links yesterday. That was probably
Maybe
right up
that's
your
where we should
alley.
upload our D&D campaign videos instead of YouTube.
Again, not a bad idea. I could definitely throw those on there too.
Well, maybe if we did them naked, I mean.
Do you
Oh,
not
God.
already? I do.
Uh,
I mean, I'm
we
not.
we
Well,
all
that's
know you
not
didn't
true.
have pants on, so
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
I'm not,
hoping you had a shirt on.
I'm not technically naked because I'm wearing slippers. Let everybody chew on that for a minute.
We don't
If
need
you
to
want to
chew on
run,
it.
now is the time, Sophie. I won't blame you.
Sophie's just out.
It's like, what did I sign up for?
Happy
my-
New Year!
Yes. So we ended the last podcast on all GS stuff and, looking back at the decade. Let's start out 2020 with a little hate.
I hate you, Gobi.
I hate you more.
I hate
No,
you, Masami.
What?
Not
No, you
really.
don't.
No, I'm just trying to get along. Everyone else was doing it. I wanted to be popular.
Yeah.
If this was a bridge, would you jump off it too?
Probably.
Fuck yeah. As long as there's water underneath.
Yeah, this is where you find out it's a barren ravine and there's nothing to cushion your fall but sand.
I immediately regret my decision.
So my love-hate relationship with Breakpoint is, well, yeah. It's good, and then it goes and kicks me in the nuts, and I fucking hate it. And for whatever reason, it likes to do it a lot. And not only to me, but it sounds like to Niggle and Omega as well.
Yeah, we were
What the
having
fuck?
a tough time last week staying in a co-op game together.
Well, I go through this odd cycle where, like, one day I'll load up Breakpoint and it'll crash every 10 minutes. And then another day I'll be able to play 4 hours, no problem. And then I turn it on someday next week and it's crashing again every couple of minutes. And when it starts crashing like that, nothing stops it. Restart the computer, whatever it might be, nothing will fix it. But then a couple weeks later, it works just fine.
It's magic.
I blame you play.
And my issue is it finally got it to run at 120 frames per second. It looked fucking amazing. It ran awesome. And then all of a sudden I go to Arendelle and poof, fucking locked at 60 frames per second. You get out and it's running at 30 frames per second and I can't fucking reinstall drivers, verified game files, reinstalled the game. Nothing fucking works. And probably like your guys' issue, a couple days from now, I'll turn it on and oh look, 120 frames per second, runs butterly smooth, and then you know what? Fuck you, Gobi. I want to fuck with you. So here's 30 frames per second. Enjoy it.
Yay, Ubisoft.
Yeah, I know. I did talk to Scotsman71, and he was playing it on Xbox, having a good time. I haven't heard of any bugs on console, so maybe all of these are just PC issues. If that's the case, fuck you, Ubisoft. You're a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I joked about this to Omega. The Ubisoft subreddit, or the Breakpoint subreddit specifically, was a couple weeks ago just thread after thread after thread of bug reports, and Ubisoft's responding to each one with the same like copy pasta. We are aware of this issue and devs are working to resolve it. It's just it was infuriating, just going back and forth. And of course they've pushed back their patch that they were supposed to put out this month, beginning of this month. Was it this week?
Last month. No.
Yeah, they pushed that back for quality reasons, because they want to make absolutely sure that they've fixed all these bugs and give us the best experience possible. And then at some point in the next 4 or 5 years, they'll get all those things the community suggested that they want in the game.
Yeah,
like a better fucking ladder system.
I'd rather them delay the patch than ship out a shitty patch.
It's gonna. That's the thing.
I'll agree.
It doesn't matter that they delayed it. It's still gonna be. It'll still be a shitty patch.
But I wish they would do
probably
some
right.
communication. Because
I mean, you're probably right that it'll still be shitty, but I'll give them a little benefit of the doubt and at least hope.
Got to keep hope alive. No, Sophie, you got some hate you want to spew too. So, what's this hate you want to spew?
Rockstar one. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Let's see. The infinite loading screens, the moonshine deleting, so you have to rebuy it, or redoing the missions to get it for free.
Oof.
No animal spawning, no camp spawning in other players' camps.
Wait, you're spawning at other players' camps?
Yeah. Which makes doing a trader role also easy when camp does not spawn.
Yeah, no kidding.
Or the animals do not spawn.
Well, on the bright side, we don't have those issues. Because those sounded way more fun.
Oh, and
not gonna lie.
That's like Warframe level issues. Jesus.
Delta.
Yeah. I was gonna say, even Warframe doesn't have infinite loading screens. Except for we did that 1 week of Railjack.
Could that have been in server overload? And what did we make? Like 5 minutes into the podcast? 7 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yes. Glorious Warframe.
Yeah, I could spew a little hate about Warframe. Not really. It's more of an inconvenient thing. So my son saw, I believe it was Masami and DrNiggle playing Warframe this last weekend, and then one of his favorite YouTubers, Jelly, put out a video on Warframe. So he comes to me and he goes, "Daddy, I want to play Warframe." All right, so I download it, install it, and he'd played it before, so he had already started the character and whatnot. And the first mission he had to do was he had to go to Cetus and then go to Plains of Eidolon. Which, no big deal. Eidolon. And he walks out the gate and he goes like probably 100 yards towards the fucking mission, and he runs into a level 22 fucking enemy. One-shots him repeatedly. It's, what the fuck are you thinking, sending a level 1 player out into this open world and then putting level 22 enemies in the same instance?
Yeah, so everyone that's played Warframe and gotten past a certain point and has read the wiki enough is probably chomping at the bit right now saying that's not how you play the fucking game. It's kind of DE's fault for not like making progression super clear, because you're not supposed to go out on the plains as a level 1 or even, an MR1.
No, he couldn't. We couldn't go past. Like, he had to go to Cetus and do bounty.
That's just
he could go on.
That's poor direction.
Yeah, that's poor direction. That's the quest line, because there are other missions that you can do that you can level up in before you get to that point. I know that you can.
Yeah.
And DE should do a better job telling people, hey, probably not a good idea to go out here until, you've hit MR5 or so.
Well, that's what YouTubers are for.
Yeah,
I remember that first mission. It was, you're not supposed to be able to, beat it or do anything. It's my interpretation of what it was supposed to be hard, just to kind of wow new players into seeing how crazy shit is, and then you go grind your low level shit.
Oh, that's right, because at the end of that, there's supposed to be this big fight or this big battle that you can go out and do, or you can completely bypass it and just go back to the door. And I remember I was scared shitless at that point,
Exactly.
so I just went straight back to the door. I was just like, no, don't need to do this.
Yeah,
not
that whole
doing it.
first mission is like you run out there and you like look at something and then you fucking run back inside. I forget what it is, but it was something really stupid like that. And then that was pretty much it. So I think it's just like show you this crazy shit, then get the fuck out and realize how weak and small you are.
Yeah, it's been Warframe's problem for a really super long time that they do not have clear progression like lined up or any early tutorial stuff. Because you have the starter mission where they tell you about primary, secondary, and melee weapons, and that's kind of it. And how to bullet jump.
And from what I understand, that was a more recent thing that they even put that in there, because I was lucky enough to even start with that tutorial, but I've encountered people saying, yeah, there was a time before that thing, and yeah.
They just dropped you in and you started doing missions.
Yeah, pretty much.
Time before that? Yeah.
So, welcome to the GS Warframe podcast. I'm
If you guys
joined by
are
Masami
really,
Govian.
if you're really curious, go back to one of the very first videos on my YouTube channel. I believe it's from like early 2013, and you can see what Warframe used to be. And then you can see what it is today, and you'll realize it's not even close to the same game.
The only enemies used to be Corpus. The Corpus did not... What do they even sound like? They sounded like Grenier. And the mission success music, the dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, that was just the fighting music during the level. It was horribly repetitive. Yeah, it was painful to watch that video, but it was also fascinating.
I believe it.
Yeah, I did like the star chart better back then because it seemed like it was better at showing progression. And then they did a different one, and then you have the one you have now, which is better than the one they had before this one.
The one they switched it to after the card system was just open solar system. You could go to any planet that you wanted, any node, and it had zero progression on it. And that's probably why the Leetness and I stopped playing so early, because we were getting our asses handed to us trying to find easy missions to do, and they just weren't marked.
Yeah, like
are we seriously going to talk about Warframe for the next 15 minutes? I mean, we can.
Well, there was a very low amount of any other freaking news on the game front, so
yeah,
we could.
That's true.
We really could.
Oh, but you know what I do have to bring up here is that Keanu Reeves action figures from Cyberpunk 2077 are totally available. So go and buy yourself a breathtaking action figure.
For your personal spank bank pleasure.
Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna
next year.
I'm gonna put a little blindfold on Keanu when
the what is it? The day of the quadruples. I mean, we're gonna have Keanu Reeves Day.
That's right. Wait, he's is that this year?
John Wick 4?
The John Wick 4 and Matrix 4 coming out on the same day?
Is next year, 2021.
Okay.
I want to say it's right around 420 as well, because why the fuck not?
Yeah.
Smoke them if you got them.
I would if it was fucking legal here.
Everyone come to Massachusetts. You're all welcome in Massachusetts.
Hey, as long as your house has enough room, why not?
That was the lamest thing I've ever heard someone say.
Hey, it was lame, but goddammit, all I have to do is drive 3 hours south now, and it's legal. But for reasons I can't yet. But that day will be glorious when I can.
The day is fast approaching. So get your Keanu Reeves action figures. They're breathtaking.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes. And well, Cyberpunk 2020 or 2077 comes out in a couple months, and
April 16th.
I'm very, very fucking disappointed that there has been no news. Like, it's astonishing for a game that is that close to release, that's supposed to be this big, that there has been no slow drip There's been no like hype train at all. Nothing. I'm not sure if I should be worried or relieved, but it's kind of annoying.
You know what? I'm just gonna assume that they're hard at work,
Doing
and also that they're working on the game. Hi-oh!
Or they're just making more Witcher stuff.
Hey, I'll take it.
Or they're making more witches. That's right.
I mean, I guess this did come up this week. Oh, shit. Speaking of
God
sadly,
damn.
my bad. Zero. Hopefully everything's all good. And I'm so sorry to hear about that. So those Zero was supposed to join us tonight, but sadly he is at the ER
Oh no.
for
Yeah,
a medical
he's-
issue. So
He's not feeling so hot right now, but it is nothing terminal. He's just in
this is
pain.
painful.
Yeah. So sorry to hear that, Zero.
Yes, I hear that.
But what I was gonna say about Witcher is somebody decided to make a Witcher 3 mod that puts toss a coin to your Witcher and Henry Cavill into the Witcher 3.
That's
Henry
awesome.
Cavill. Yeah.
I thought that was pretty neat.
He's a
I would
good-looking
say.
Gerald. Geralt.
Geralt.
Whatever. Gerald.
Oh my
Geralt. Yeah, on New Year's I remember seeing Geralt of Nvidia. That was so fucking hilarious.
Gerald of Nvidia.
Oh, dude, it's bad. Like I gotta find the Twitter post for you guys.
Oh, that's phenomenal. All right, he's got a new name. Somebody, tell Henry Cavill that we talked about him on this podcast. I know we're really super big in the entertainment industry. Everybody listens to this. We're kind of a huge deal.
Mm-hmm. That's why we're gonna break out in simultaneous songs, singing, toss a coin to your
Coin
Witcher.
to your Witcher.
So has everybody here seen The Witcher?
Yes.
Sophie?
No.
Any plans on watching The Witcher, Sophie?
Nope.
Okay.
All right.
And
Okay.
Omega said that he was going to watch it. I'm not sure if he started yet.
Yeah, I'm a couple episodes in.
Cool. Okay, we can talk about episode 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
How about them titties? Lots of titties in that show.
Oh my god.
I
I was a
warned
little
you.
shocked. I'm really glad I decided to binge it when the kids weren't here.
That's an excellent plan. Excellent
That-
plan.
That just makes it sound like you were sitting on your couch without any pants on.
Yeah, like that's less about not exposing you to the kids and more about not having a boner in front of
That's
Hey.
private time.
This coming from the king of no pants over there.
That's right.
I've never played any of the Witcher games, and never read any of the books. I enjoyed it, the series all the way through. There were some parts that were kind of confusing until I realized what they were doing. Then it made more sense. But
Yeah.
I think it was cast very well and it was acted very well.
Yeah, I would agree. I've read a little bit of it, and I've played the first two and watched pretty much the third one be played to death. So
Yeah, it was,
I'm just gonna say that I think the Hunchback girl is super cute.
Yennefer, yes.
Yeah, Yennefer.
Oh.
Before she turns into hot Yennefer, I think original Yennefer is cuter than hot Yennefer.
Well, you've just now talked about things past episode 2. Thanks.
That's
now
not
you know
past
you have
episode 2,
something
is
to
it?
look forward to.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's past
that's-
episode.
Yeah, apparently knowing that she turns hot at some point. Yes, that has not happened
Alright.
yet in episode 2 when you were first introduced to the character.
All right, sorry,
No,
spoilers.
it's like 4 or 5.
Yeah, I don't even know if I would really call that a spoiler. I mean, but then again,
yeah.
I'm coming from a point of I've seen Yennefer in the third.
Okay, so
the third
if you have
game,
not
yeah.
seen The Witcher and you plan on watching it, you should probably skip like the next 15 minutes of the podcast Just saying.
Oh, we probably should have said that when we decided to talk about episode 1 with them titties.
Omega, I forgot what happened in the first couple episodes. So why don't you?
Well,
tell us what you
the
got
first
to?
episode is just the introduction, of the sorcerer and the crazy lady trying to kill him, and Geralt kills the lady, and that's pretty much the end of that. Then the second episode is where you're introduced to Yennefer and the Bard. And that's pretty much all that's happened through that. And the girl or king and queen dying, and she escapes and all that shit. So
Siri.
Yes, Siri. Now, actually, episode 1 was the only episode that didn't make a whole lot of sense to me because it didn't really play into the rest of the series. Like it was kind of a one-off episode to me. Maybe season 2 will shed more light onto who that girl was or why that particular part was important.
So yeah, it's probably worth pointing out that Witcher has been renewed, or was renewed before season 1 even started for a season 2. So we're getting at least one more out of there, and it's probably going to drag on for at least, I'm going to guess, 5 seasons. We're going to have at least 5 seasons of Witcher.
Well, there's 6 books of it, and really most of the first season was kind of contained within the very first book, The Last Wish. And I mean, there's not been a lot since then. They haven't even gotten into any of the video game content because they're actually following the books, not the video games. So, much to the author's pleasure, I think. Maybe he was just annoyed that the video games did not follow his storyline.
You read the books. So the first episode, what was her name? Renfair?
Yeah, Renfrey.
Renfrey.
Renfair.
Yes. What the fuck is her significance?
From what I remember, she was special to the sorcerer, and I don't quite remember exactly how. Child of the Black Sun, apparently.
Yeah, she was one of the cursed girls or whatever, but she had a special relationship with the Witcher, and it was almost like she was connected to Ciri somehow, but I couldn't figure after watching the entire series, I never really figured out where she played into it. Everybody else, the sorcerer, I seen where he played into it. But she is the one thing that just never, it was here she is, there's this really important plot point, and then nothing.
There's a lot in episode 1 that there's stuff in episode 1 that ties back as the series goes on, but you're right, maybe like Masami said, maybe they'll wrap around to Renfair's story in season 2.
Renfair.
Renfrey.
I like it. I'm good. I'm good with Renfair and Gerald of NVIDIA.
No, so that was actually, there must be a guy from NVIDIA, and he was in one of those wooden hot tubs, and he was sitting in the same pose as the Witcher.
the big ass picture that's on PC Gamer this week.
Yeah, and it was so the guy, somebody from NVIDIA, must have been a higher end up exec or whatever, posted a picture of him sitting in that tub and then captioned it Geralt of NVIDIA. That's where that came from, but I can't fucking find the Twitter post. I'll have to find it on my phone, I guess. Yeah, I laughed a little hard at it. Harder than I probably should have. So yeah, The Witcher. Anyway, Omega, what were your thoughts on the first couple episodes?
yeah, I thought the her whole storyline in the first episode was just a little weird and didn't do a good job of setting it up or resolving it or really explain. They told her whole story and it was interesting, and then okay, we're done with that. But the second episode was good. I liked the second one. I thought that was pretty interesting. Started to actually now in the second episodes where they're actually starting to build a story, I feel like, rather than just introducing us to this character who's badass and kills shit.
Yeah, really, the first episode, which is called the well, I don't know if the episode is called, but that story is called The Butcher of Blaviken. It's basically introducing you to Geralt and why he is called that, because all the way like after that he gets constantly referred to that. So that's like the main takeaway from that first episode. I'm not actually sure if they're gonna wrap around to name this Child of the Black Sun nonsense, but it basically tells you why he's called that, why that follows him throughout his.
Dude, just tell your husband to get a fucking mic and get his ass in here.
You're going to be listening to a lot of lore. Nothing necessarily wrong with that.
Yes.
We got some time yet. I mean, so we're good. Unless Sophie wants to jump in at any point. Because she's just been talking her head off all night.
Well, we are talking about a show that she said she hasn't watched and has no plans to watch, so.
Yeah.
So what about the Mandalorian? Do you plan on watching that, Sophie?
Probably not.
Next topic!
All right. What do you plan on watching?
Not
Or
much,
reading.
really. Don't really watch TV.
Okay,
What would you like to
fair
talk
enough.
about?
Yes.
Or reading. I was going to say reading because Omega brought up Wheel of Time. Masami and I were talking about Dune before the podcast. Omega brought up Wheel of Time. Somehow Lord of the Rings got mashed in there too.
Well, Gobi was talking about Lord of the Rings, and then I brought up Wheel of Time.
Oh
off
yeah,
of that.
big books. Yeah. This is why we should not recreate conversations.
Anyway,
Trust us, it was interesting.
I promise it was interesting. But Sophie? Wait. She's like, I'm hiding in the corner. Leave me alone, guys. I'm just here for moral support.
Sophie is the nicest and most unassuming staff member on GS, and we give her nothing but shit.
Yeah, except for maybe she could explain to us why they call her Crossbow Queen.
Oh.
That was very good with a crossbow in Black Ops days.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, she was pretty good in Battlefield 3, if I remember, too.
I know, a while ago.
And something about she likes to start things in Red Dead Redemption. She's always got like the entire server chasing her, so I mean, this is all from Spade, so I mean, take it with a grain of salt, but I mean, do you just go looking for a fight, or are you just you just are this unassuming person in chat, and in game you're like a Black Widow?
Pretty much. I do look for a fight. Usually it's just NPCs that are chasing me. Unless Spade's on, then for some reason I get actual players trying to kill me.
Fucking Spade.
Yeah. Where is Spade?
He hasn't been on a
fucking-
podcast for a spell.
Yeah, he's been hiding, I think. Well, I will say he might have won Uncle of the Year with his Christmas presents, although his nieces did not look too enthused with him.
Oh, that's right. He got them. What did he get up? His Switches?
Yeah, Nintendo Switches, the lights
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah. That was a pretty cool Christmas present. To me, anyway. I mean, his nieces don't like it. What's wrong with your nieces, Spade?
The only thing I could come up with is they didn't like the color. I mean, they were yellow, so...
Oh, that's true. Okay, what's wrong with you, Spade? I'm very easily...
You don't know your niece's favorite color?
My niece's favorite color is pink. She's
Yeah.
5 years old. She's going through the princess phase. Everything has to be princesses and unicorns. God, she loves unicorns.
Dude, that phase lasts for at minimum 3 years.
That's fine. That makes it easier for me to buy her stuff for her birthday and next Christmas.
Yep. I mean, well, some women never outgrow that phase. That is why they do make onesies.
Look,
Unicorns for
some
adults.
men never outgrow that phase. I mean, who doesn't want to be a pretty princess every now and again?
Somebody who doesn't wear pants?
I was just thinking about that. You know, technically a dress is not pants, so Must
Neither is
have
a kilt. I still don't
right,
recommend
yeah.
wearing it at work. Or if you do, somebody does, don't work underneath them.
You're in construction. Of course you shouldn't wear a kilt.
You say that, and yet I've seen people on construction sites with a kilt.
So what? They're up on a ladder doing roofing work, and they're like, breezy.
Yep. Nope. You don't walk underneath that ladder. You do everything humanly possible to avoid that 6-foot section of area underneath them, because it doesn't matter what you do, you always end up looking up, and I don't
Yeah,
want to
you
regret
do,
that.
Gobi.
Sounds like somebody's a little bi-curious.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Gotta stay away from that
whenever it gets
area.
in-
Don't want to awaken your urges by seeing a man in a kilt up a ladder.
Don't want to awaken the
Well,
beast within.
I just out of curiosity, how many people do you think that wear a kilt wear underwear underneath that kilt?
You're not
0.
supposed to. If you're wearing underwear under a kilt, you're wearing your kilt wrong.
Yeah,
That
you're
is
doing it
absolutely
wrong.
the truth.
I didn't know this, so
Now you do.
I'm learning something new.
Kilt is
Knowledge is
synonymous
power.
with commando.
Yes. I mean,
No, like, I wasn't saying that sarcastically. Like, you're supposed to not wear underwear under a kilt.
The Scottish
just
are
don't
a
think-
proud people.
Yes. He even wears it during the winter. So, in Wisconsin.
Yeah, well, a
On-
kilt is an all-season sort of ordeal. It's perfect for any weather.
Yeah. Good. It's like, do women? I don't see any women wearing dresses with no leggings in the winter in Wisconsin.
That's because they don't have the balls. Oh!
Oh, we're so going to hell.
Save me a seat by the fire.
At least it'll be warm, right? We won't have to deal with 50 degrees and fucking.
Yeah, then we
ice
can
and
wear our
shit.
kilts with no problem.
Oh, thank God I'm Norwegian and not fucking Scottish.
What's this about Alienware?
Oh,
Alienware
yeah.
is supposed
So,
to debut a mobile gaming system, and now for something completely different.
yeah, right. Completely random. And they're naming it the UFO. So that's kind of cool. It literally looks like a Switch, except for it plays PC games.
So it's gonna be like a handheld PC. Of course it is. Yeah, mobile gaming app. And
So
hardware.
they invented a tablet with actual controllers on the side of it.
like a
No, I mean
kick-ass
it looks
gaming
just
tablet.
like a Nintendo Switch Lite, like we were just talking about.
Oh,
Almost
so
fucking
it's smaller.
identical. And it's cool. It's a cool concept. I mean, I'm sure it's gonna be fucking ridiculously expensive, and
And completely underpowered.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how you're gonna run some AAA titles on there, but it is Alienware. I mean, they're notorious for packing a lot of significant hardware into a very small space, so who knows?
I mean,
But
you
the
can play
size
Call
of
of
the Switch is
Duty on
really
mobile,
small.
so
Yeah, it is.
No, you can play Call of Duty mobile on mobile.
right. I mean, but it's
You can't play Call of
looks
Duty.
really good. Wow, not yet.
Yet. Wait, it's 2020. Hey, 2020, 2021, we're getting pretty close. Actually, no, it's 3 years away. Quantum processing is probably 3 years away from the commercial market. So once that happens, I mean, you can have a computer the size of a quarter. But
I mean, it kind
Until
of sounds like the UFO is going to be a PC based gaming platform that can only play either really low intensity games or like low system intensive games, or developers are going to start making versions of their game for this.
you can
Or
play
specific
RimWorld on the
games.
subway.
For this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an interesting concept. It's got the same cooling system as the Area 51M laptop, so it should have decent cooling.
That's
It's
forced
got
air
a
though, right?
green. Yeah, it's if you scroll, if you're looking at the Tom's Guide article, you got like the 3 big holes in the back where it must suck in or expel the air, and then the intake is at the top between the 2 bumpers. It's got 2 triggers and 2 bumpers, just like an Xbox controller. It's got pretty much the same layout as the Xbox controller for the thumbsticks, D-pad, and the 4 face buttons.
Oh, I see. I see it.
I just imagine this little handheld thing sounding like a shop vac when the fan spins up.
when the processor hits 80%, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it would be cool to be able to play games, PC games mobilely, like on the Switch.
Yeah, the real solution for that would be some sort of like super low latency remote access tool.
Well,
Then
the
your
biggest problem with
computer's
that
doing the
is cell
work.
phone service.
Yeah, like Parsec.
Yeah, then
Yeah.
your computer's doing the work, and then you're fucking playing it from wherever you want to.
Or
Would be-
Google.
But the only problem
audio.
with that, the only problem with that would be the latency, because it depends
Exactly.
on what network you're connected. Like if you're going through 4G, I imagine you're looking at like at least 200-300 milliseconds, depending on where you are.
Well, yeah, if you're doing that, that's no good. But like if I'm on Wi-Fi somewhere other than home, if I could like, have a tablet-sized thing in my hands, and I could basically open up my Steam library on my home PC and play games using my home PC's system resources, that would be super cool.
That is actually an interesting concept that you bring that up, because we did talk. Actually, did we on the podcast a while ago? The standardization of 5G, the architecture of the network that's being set up in the United States and ostensibly Europe as well. So if we do have like a global 5G network that is meant to run high-speed 256-bit AES encryption across the network at a solid, a dependable speed at all locations, yeah, something like that might totally be possible to connect to your home PC and just do what Parsec does, which is create a virtual remote desktop environment. Which, if anyone hasn't used Parsec is fucking amazing. It's a wonderful program.
Yeah, for everybody's wondering, I picked up a game that had local co-op on it, and I wanted to play with DrNiggle. And this program Parsec, it basically allows a second person to access your computer, and you can give them like keyboard control access within a certain program. So I could load up this game on my computer, load up Parsec. Doc would sign in on Parsec, and then his key commands would basically be interpreted by the game as coming from my keyboard as well as mine. So it allows, and of course, when you do that, it can't work with any sort of latency. But we were able to get it work very well. I mean, I'm in New York, he's in Boston, 0 latency.
Yeah, that's what was remarkable to me. It was that it was like 7 milliseconds on the stat page, and I was blown away by that. But yeah, so that's what Parsec is. Go Google it. If you got a single player game that you want to play with a buddy, just Google Parsec and figure out how to work that.
Yeah, like the big one that you see on there a lot is like Cuphead, or what's that game where you're like cooking shit and everybody's angry about it all the time? It's like a party game.
Yeah. It's something chef.
Yeah, I can't remember. I know we used to use, I think it's called Hitachi or something like that. It's basically the same type of program, but for LAN games. So you could play LAN games over the internet, and it would show up as a LAN network for games that didn't have multiplayer, or the multiplayer had died. Like we used it for Unreal Tournament for a while. After multiplayer was gone, we'd use this Hitachi program, and you could play a LAN game, but it was over the internet. Of course, it opened up holes in your firewall that you didn't want to leave it running.
What's really cool is on Parsec, there's an arcade mode where you can host a public game. So like I could right now join someone's public game of Cuphead, Sonic Mania, Stick Fight the Games. You can like go on and host whatever you want to, and people can randomly join, or you could specifically have friends, set up a party and then play together.
The name of the game is Overcooked, by the way.
That's the one.
And going back to the Alienware concept UFO, I didn't even realize this, but Razer Edge Pro was launched way back in 2013, and it cost $999. It was basically a Windows 8 tablet with a 1.7 gigahertz Intel i5, 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigabyte SSD, and an Intel HD 400 or 4000 graphics card.
Jesus Christ,
And
that was a beast at the time.
A NVIDIA GeForce GT 640M LE GPU with 2 gigs of VRAM. The premium tier bumped you up to an i7 with 8 gigs of RAM, a 256 gig 256 gig SSD, but it was to a tune of $1,449.
That's like my phone now. My phone now is that, but it's not even close to that much money.
Right. Yeah, I mean, this was 7 years ago. No,
Yeah,
2020. So
I know, right? I'm doing that too. I'm trying to reference stuff the other day that happened in the 1950s, and I had to check myself. It's like, no, it's not 50 years ago. It's 70 years ago now. God damn it.
Yeah, realizing that you've been alive to see the decade change 3 different times or 4 different times is.
How many times is the world supposed to have ended by now?
At least 3 that I'm aware of.
That's great. Every
Plus,
time that happens, I laugh.
Y2K. How many people remember Y2K?
Yo.
How many people remember the videos that came out, like Y2K preppers?
Oh my god.
Turn
That
your
is so
computer
funny.
off before the end of the year.
Yep. And they boot into the BIOS and turn it back to, it was like 1951 or some shit.
Yeah, it was stupid. In defiance, I left my computer on and I watched the clock tick over. And I was just like, well, that was anticlimactic.
Yeah, I forgot what was even supposed to happen when the clock turned over for Y2K.
Everything was supposed to get messed up, and the computer was supposed to think that it was 50 years ago, and it wasn't going to be able to access files that were made in the future according to it, and none of it ever happened. I think
they thought it would be a rollover error, and it would, instead of 2000, it would go 1900.
1900, yeah.
They thought the 00 would be interpreted with the 19 in front of it.
Didn't a train system get disrupted for a couple hours in like Finland or something, and that was it?
There were a couple things. I mean, I think that's what started it. Was there was someone who like rightfully said there are probably some really old, stupid, archaic computer systems out there that'll be affected when it tries to roll over to the new year, and then either some idiot journalist or whatever turned it into this like, oh my god, all computers are going to explode.
The media never blew something out of proportion.
Yeah, I'd love to blame BuzzFeed or YouTube for that kind of shit, but it was 1999 and neither of those things existed.
Yeah.
Nope. Didn't even have Facebook.
Nope.
Remember when Facebook wasn't a thing? Those were the days.
I was in college when Facebook became a thing, and that's when it was like only restricted to school networks and things like that. You had to have a .edu address to even join it.
Yeah, that's right. Because everybody at my high school was trying to sign up on Facebook because we had school email at that point. It didn't work, but we had it.
Yeah, because it was like it was supposed to be just colleges, so I have no idea how they validated that bullshit, but yeah.
I remember when MySpace was invented.
Oh yeah, MySpace. That was the cool shit. I think that still exists.
It does.
It does. And you can still look up your profile.
Oh
the
god.
problem is, if you don't remember your password, I'm not sure there's a way to reset your password.
Yeah.
Because I can see my profile, but I had it set to private, and I can't seem to find a way to reset my password, because I would love to go in and open that up and see what I did like 20 years ago. I think that was like the last time I logged into MySpace was like 20 years ago.
Anybody remember LiveJournal?
Yep.
Yeah, there were a whole bunch of those blogger sites back then.
Well, that was kind of the start of the social media craze, and now
Tumblr's kind of the only one that still exists in that still kind of feels and looks like what those old like LiveJournal or Zanga and all those other blog sites felt like.
Now
God,
the real
Zanga.
question, and I know I'm dating myself, but how many of you remember going into an IRC chat room?
Frequently.
I
Yeah.
never actually used IRC. The oldest program I remember using is ICQ.
Oh,
Yeah, that's gonna
ICQ.
date me.
Wasn't ICQ just a spin-off of IRC? I thought they used the same core.
Basically. I wouldn't be surprised. It was
Well,
more
yeah, but you
graphical.
had to have like it was more GUI, and you had to have a special fancy number to log in and stuff, and it was less anonymous.
Hey, I still know my number. I have to look it up, but I still have it somewhere.
Omega brought it up the other day. Omega brought up Trillion. If anybody used to use Trillion.
Fuck
I
yeah!
remember Trillion because it was like where you could
It's still
combine
around.
all of your messengers together.
Yeah, it's still around.
So I had my Yahoo Instant Messenger. I had AIM. I had
Back
Did I
when
ICQ?
chat
Yeah,
rooms
I
were
did.
a thing.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, folks, we used to not have Discord. If you remember, like 2 years back, because Discord is still relatively new in the grand scheme of things, we used to have AOL. Everyone in America had America Online, and we used to dial up into the internet, and we used to go into chat rooms with random people, and we used to try and have conversations, which almost always started with ASL.
I used to play spades on Yahoo Games online with people.
I played chess with various peoples all over the world because I was teaching myself chess, and that was the best way.
Fucking OG multiplayer gamers in this room.
So it's 5 years old. It's almost 5 years old. Discord is now.
It's been 5 years?
My first post
I thought it'd
was
been
November
longer.
15 of 2015. That was the day
Gotta go
that I
back.
joined Discord. And I have
Wait.
posted 39,730 posts in just the saloon.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, Discord was publicly released May 2015. Thank you, Wikipedia and Google.
Before that, we had, obviously, we talked about this last podcast, Chatango, which was our big text chat, which was web-based. Then for a while, a bunch of us used Razor Comms, which is now defunct and no longer around. And then we switched to Discord. There was one called Curse for a while. I'm not sure if that is still around or not, or if that became Discord. I don't remember which one it was, but yeah, it's been an interesting journey. IRC was my favorite.
Yeah, we've lived through the awkward, informative years of social media, and we're finally getting to slightly more elegant evolutions of crap that we used to use 2 decades ago.
But you know what hasn't changed? 4chan.
That's true. You know what? Going
hasn't
strong
changed
since
either.
2005.
Fortran?
4chan.
Oh, 4chan. I thought you said Fortran.
No,
4chan
that's the
is still around,
website
too.
that you go to a lot, Gobi. That's the website that you go to.
Let's talk about 1D4chan. That's the
Fortran is a programming language.
That's your fallback excuse. We're familiar with that. Nobody Google Fortran.
It's pretty much an ancient language at this point. It's like speaking Latin. It's kind of like
It's-
Basic or Pascal.
It's still it's before Basic, believe it or not, and it's still
Yes.
taught. It's like the root language. It's like if you're going to school for a writing degree or something, and you're studying Old English. But when
Yep.
you have to read Beowulf in Middle English, oh god.
Or you got to work on a really, really old Unix system.
I can't believe that there are actually still Unix systems around that use Fortran or Basic.
Oh, dude, those languages will never die. I mean, Visual Basic is just basic programming language with a GUI on it.
Oh no, Visual Basic is that's C plus is C sharp now?
Nope, that's
I
totally
thought the
different.
core of that was
There's-
C.
There's C, there's C++, and there's C sharp, and before that there was Visual Basic.
Oh, okay. So when you say basic, I'm thinking of go to 10 lines, where I actually opened up this because this is how. Okay, interesting story. Lego Mindstorms was one of the first programmable toys for kids out there, and before Lego Mindstorms had a Java-based GUI where you could just drag and drop commands to program Legos to do stuff, which you can still do. It's super cool. You wrote it out in BASIC. So you opened up a text file, you wrote out just plain simple instructions in English. There was really no coding language to it. It was just, a different syntax of the English language. And you saved the text file and you dragged and dropped it onto this like special loader that then programmed the brain of the Lego Mindstorm. So yeah, when you say basic, I'm thinking about like turn on, turn left, wait 10.
Right. Yeah. So Fortran was designed for scientists and engineers and has dominated this field for the past 30 years. Fortran has been used for such projects as designing of bridges and aeroplane structures, and it is used for factory automation control, for storm drainage design, analysis of scientific data, and so on.
It was like the programming language for years before.
And then
I forgot the original author of C, but that dude came along. Arthur.
Yeah. Oh God, I can't remember.
I
Yeah.
have his fucking book. I have the book that he wrote because he invented this programming language with the help of like some other people, and then he just published it in a book for $10 a pop, and basically taught the world how to program. It was an incredible thing, but that was closer to 40 years ago now.
Developed by IBM in the 1950s. It doesn't say his name though.
Oh shit.
Basic was made in 1964 by John G. Kermy and Thomas E. Kurtz at Dartmouth College. It stands for Beginner's All-Purpose Symbolic Instruction Code.
Da, 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 da.
And it was the first language that I ever wrote a game in. I had to make the old school Snake game. We had to write that code to make that game. That was our final project for my basic programming class in high school. Programming 2 was Pascal, which bumped that up a little bit. And then we had programming 3, which was C++. They also taught us some C. That's kind of when I started getting into Linux pretty hardcore, because the kernel for Linux is wrote in C. It is also the basis for Android as well.
You want to know what programming 101 in my high school was? ActionScript. Everybody knows ActionScript, right? It's the programming language of the future.
Yes. And everybody else is like, they're talking fucking gibberish. Might as well be talking about aliens.
How dare
Oh,
you? Adobe will one day rule the world.
Oh, Cobalt. There we go. That's another.
Cobalt, Jesus Christ. Thank God Python just took over everything.
Yeah. So there's our programming nerdiness for a while.
Yep, good talk.
Yeah. So how lost are you guys?
How bored are you guys?
Well, there's a Star Trek Rebels on my other screen here, so I'll admit that was a little bit more than arcane computer languages.
Star Trek is
Yeah,
never a bad
I was
alternative.
considering interjecting, but I've just been playing a cell phone game.
Sophie fell asleep on us.
No, Sophie's
Almost.
murdering and robbing people in Red Dead.
Oh, is that what she's doing? Of course, that's what she's doing.
Yeah, I don't even know. Okay, yeah.
Just be happy I'm not playing Warframe while I'm doing this.
No, she's currently idle.
Well, since
Round
this
table.
is gonna be fun, and yep.
Roundhouse.
So, favorite movie of
Roadhouse.
all time? Leetness? Yeah, Leetness.
Solid burn.
Fell asleep on us. Fucking
That was
asshole.
a solid burn. No, I wanted to hear Sophie's favorite movie of all time, because I was going to agree with whatever Sophie said.
Time Traveler's Wife.
Time Traveler's Wife is a brilliant movie.
Can say I've never seen it.
I remember seeing
Heard
the
about it.
previews for it and hearing about it, but I never actually saw it.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about it, because we clearly missed the boat.
Basically, a guy who involuntarily travels through time.
Ah.
At least it's involuntary.
I wish all movie previews or reviews were that succinct.
He just travels through. All right, well, we all know Omegas, so Masami.
How the fuck do you know what my favorite movie is? I don't know what my favorite movie is.
Well, clearly it's got to be somewhere in the Titanic range.
I thought he was going to say Titanic.
Yeah, I mean, he did say it was the greatest movie of all time, so that just led me to believe that it was his favorite movie of all time.
It is. the
No, I'm
greatest
just
movie
shitting
of all
on you
time.
for having the audacity to say that, like, it's not a good movie.
No, I never said it wasn't a good movie. I just don't like the movie. I'm just saying.
Is it that Leonardo DiCaprio is cuter than you, and you have that thing where you're like, I want to slap his face, not because you hate him, but because you think it would be fun to slap?
No, I just didn't like his acting in the movie. I'm not a huge Leonardo DiCaprio fan to begin with. I will say The Departed was probably his greatest movie. And that movie is fucking amazing. Not my favorite movie of all time, but it was a very good movie and a solid acting experience from all parties involved.
What was the movie where Leonardo DiCaprio was stranded on an island, and we get that super close up of his face while he eats the bug in slow motion? Somebody
No,
out there
I
knows
think
what I'm
you're
talking
thinking
about.
of Tom Hanks.
No. This was Leonardo DiCaprio.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was a good scene. Anyway, Time Traveler's Wife. Eric Bana, Rachel McAdams. It won a Teen
anything
Choice
with-
Award.
Anything with Rachel McAdams is awesome.
Actually, something funny about Time Traveler's Wife, I remember an interview that Rachel McAdams gave on The Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson, where she basically inadvertently spoiled the entire movie in the course of about 30 seconds, and she just stops and starts laughing hysterically, and Craig is laughing along with her. He's like, we don't have to talk about this, we can talk about anything else.
Are you talking about The Beach?
The Beach, thank you. That is the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, where he eats a bug in slow motion. Super close up on his face.
Ugh.
It's fantastic.
Slimy, yet satisfying.
High in protein.
They are.
Okay, what is Omega? What is your favorite movie then? If it's not, we all recognize that Titanic is a fantastic movie. Just putting that out there.
I hate this question whenever it comes up because I don't have a favorite movie. I could say that I have a top 5 favorite movies, but every time that I've probably listed 100 movies that I consider to be in my top 5 favorite movies.
Yeah. I just decided a long time ago it was Fifth Element, and that's what I just go with every time now.
It's just too difficult for me to say. Like, Event Horizon is very high on my list. That if I had to pick one, that's what I would probably go with.
Yes, I see.
Masami, I don't think you spoke yet.
Oh, I had to pitch us onto the ship of the one question. So, speaking of ships, honestly, like I kind of have the same problem as Omega, but usually what I default to is Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one in 2003. I literally saw it 5 times in theaters because it had spawned multiple various creative projects and some other things. I just, for some reason, really enjoyed
Fanfic.
Pirates.
Fanfics where
Erotic fanfic. That's
Where-
clearly what she's talking about.
where Johnny Depp and Orlando Bloom hook up and they ditch Keira Knightley.
I'd watch it.
I would probably watch it too.
There was a lot of Jack Will fanfic, a lot of slashfic.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Did you know that on Pirates of the Caribbean 1, Keira Knightley actually had her own bosom makeup artist?
Yes, I was aware. Because they had to make her look like she had something.
That's right, and she's notoriously flat-chested, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's just Disney saying, there need to be more titties in this kid's film.
Well, even back in the day, during that time period, she might have had a bosom artist or a chambermaid devoted to actually making it look like she had something. You know, large breasts were still important for, the value they had in child rearing and feeding.
Well, was the first Pirates really a kids movie? Because I feel like the later ones became much more kid friendly, but I feel like the first one wasn't. At least it wasn't to the extent of the later ones. The first one felt like just a good straight up pirate movie.
Yeah, the Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one, was Disney's first PG-13 movie at the time.
I was going to say that I might be blowing smoke out
Very
my
first
ass, but I thought that Pirates was Disney's departure from exclusively kid films, and that was their start into more, not necessarily adult material, but like older kid material, late teens.
Correct. That is true. And someday soon we will have Deadpool 3, and it'll just blow that right out of the water.
I can't wait to see how Disney handles that. PG-13 Deadpool movie. I'm sure that'll go over great.
There's no way. You
I
can't
think
do it.
I think he got them to agree to rated R, just like the other ones.
Good for him.
Because Ryan Reynolds is the man.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about Disney, though. Disney is such a wide umbrella that, like, they own tons of movie production companies that have tons of violence and swearing and explosions and adult content. They're under the Disney umbrella. Disney makes a ton of money of them. The only difference is that Deadpool will now actually have the Disney label slapped onto it instead of 21st Century Fox or whichever other studio that they're like sort of hiding it behind.
Yeah, like I realized just how much of 20th Century Fox they've put into Disney Plus because I managed to watch Sister Act 1 and 2 this weekend. That was fantastic.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh, great movies.
Let me tell you, there was some nostalgia there. I had to watch them when I found them. I'm like, yes.
Dude, Maggie Smith is in those movies.
Do you know why
Robin Williams?
Do you know why Whoopi Goldberg is so distinctive looking? She has no eyebrows, and you don't realize it unless you actually look for it. She has no eyebrows, and it's deliberate because she wanted to make herself look distinct.
That's interesting.
Fun fact for you.
Pull up a picture of Guinan from Star Trek. She has no eyebrows.
Whoopi Goldberg has never had eyebrows her entire career.
Good for
her. Tom Cruise teeth are off center.
Yeah, that's Tom Cruise has one big front tooth that is directly down the center of his face, and you don't realize it until you look for it, and once you look for it and you've seen it, you never unsee it.
It's horrible.
Well, isn't that why he is mostly filmed from the side and rarely front on? Like, I actually remember hearing that like most of his scenes are shot profile.
Yeah,
I could believe that as a reason. I just always assumed that it had something to do with the Now I'm completely spacing on what's it called when you blocking. I assume that it had something to do with the blocking because he also always acts standing on a box.
Yeah, I mean he's like 4'9".
He's basically legally a midget.
Oh, but
All
it
that
does
said,
do
I'm
all the
super
stuff,
excited for Top Gun 2.
Top Gun 2.
I am so excited for that fucking movie. That you know what? No,
Zone.
I'm taking it back. Top Gun is my favorite movie. I'm doing it. I'm standing by that. I am planting my flag on this one. Top Gun is my favorite movie, and I am fucking stoked for Top Gun 2.
Can
I
our
enjoyed the
favorite-
first one, yes.
Can our mutual favorite scene from the first Top Gun movie be the volleyball scene?
Is there any other option?
No, it's got to be the volleyball scene.
That
I was just keeping up
that
relations.
that scene is tied with when he flicks the MiG the bird.
Yeah, I mean that.
Playing with the boys.
What were you doing that close? I was keeping up public relations.
Oh, it's so.
Giving him
Oh
bird.
god.
I'm not gonna lie. I saw that that movie came out the year. I will presume a fair amount of us were born. I know at least Doc and I, 1986. I saw that movie when I was really young. One of the most impactful moments in filmmaking for me at like my youngest age that I can remember was Goose dying. Spoiler alert.
If you haven't seen it by now,
Yeah, I was about to say, if you haven't seen it by now, yeah.
But yeah,
What are you
that
doing,
Under a fucking
movie,
rock?
like Goose dying, no lie, that was like an impactful moment of filmmaking for me as a really young kid.
Yeah, that definitely is the truth.
the one that really got. I'm sorry, Top Gun wasn't that shocking to me, but the one that really got me was Empire. We were talking about Star Wars at some point. I don't know if it was before the podcast or whatever, but Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
When spoilers, Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father. That was huge.
Oh my god! Really?
It all makes perfect sense now.
So yeah, I was gonna. Top Gun is actually my favorite movie of all time. And no,
You
I
can't
wasn't
take
born the year
mine.
it came out.
Pick your own.
It was the first movie that I really made me want to become a fighter pilot. And it cemented my love of crotch rockets. And there was just no turning back.
And the
need for
volleyball
speed.
scene is why you're gay.
Hey!
I'm straight with 4 kids.
As we touched on in another podcast, Gobi is very committed to his heterosexual lie.
Might be the only one who's comfortable with his sexuality enough to let you guys say I'm gay.
No, you can say
He
I'm gay.
thinks
all
the
you
lady
want.
doth protest too much. Yeah.
Yep.
If you say so. Kick the tires, light the fires. That was probably one of my favorite quotes growing up. And there was just so many things in that movie that really made me want to do those things. Unfortunately, I was never able to go into the military for other reasons, so my dreams of becoming a fighter pilot got cut short.
Was it the vision, or was it because they don't let gay people into the... Nah, I shouldn't say that. That's not accurate anymore.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's
back
a
when
whole-
he was
don't-
going to enlist.
Well, yeah, I would have listed in before.
I mean, it would have
the
worked if you
turn
went
of
into the
century.
Navy, though. I mean, the Navy would have been perfect for you.
The Navy was the one who rejected me because who do you think the fighter pilots are? The Air Force? No.
No, it's mostly
naval.
the Navy.
Yeah, the
Well,
Air
I
Force
mean-
gets the fly the cool ones, you know, the stealth jets and stuff like that. The stealth bombers, all that fun stuff.
They're also the ones that get picked to go to NASA.
Yes, and I never wanted to go to space. I also have never been in an airplane yet, so I'm
Wait,
almost
what?
40 years old, and I've never been in an airplane. Yep. I'll be in an airplane when I
Can
can
we,
fly
like,
it.
Pitch it and get Gobi a ticket to, like, I don't know, somewhere. Just his nearest airport. Just get him round trips from like one airport to the next. Just so he could experience flight.
Does Wisconsin
I-
have more than one airport?
I'm going to start a fund. We can all pitch it.
There's an airport 5 miles away from me. I just have to take my pilot's license first.
Dude, you should do that. Get your pilot's license.
I
That
think you
would
have to
actually
be.
pretty cool.
I think you have to go on a flight before you can. It's like question one on question. Have you ever been in an airplane? No, nope. You can't be a pilot. Sorry.
No, I've never been in an airplane. I've been over 200 miles an hour. I've just never been in an airplane doing it. And in fact, most planes don't even go 200 miles an hour.
Wait, most planes go way faster than 200 miles an hour.
Yeah.
No, jets go faster than 200 miles an hour. Most planes that are props do not go over 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, prop planes don't go that fast.
Yeah.
Which is true. That's most of the small private planes. Unless you get an Airstream. Wait, is it an Airstream?
Yeah, like a Cessna. No, Cessna's considered a jet.
Okay. Do you know that Time Traveler's Wife opened up the same day as District 9 and G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra?
I've not seen. I saw Rise of Cobra. Not a great movie at all.
No, my
I'd skip
God,
that one.
the G.I. Joe movies were absolutely abysmally horrible.
District 9, I never I think I watched the first 5 minutes of it and never seen any more of it. Of course, I didn't hold my interest either.
That was that South African alien movie, right?
Yeah, it was. It was where the aliens came and lived on Earth. For me, it was one of those interesting sci-fi movies. You can watch it once and then you don't really need to see it again, but it was pretty well done.
For sure, exactly. I've seen it once, and I saw chunks of it again on TV, and it's an interesting concept. It's not some masterpiece of sci-fi that I'm going to go back to over and over again, but it's definitely something that I enjoyed. And
yeah, it's something that Peter Jackson did in between Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit.
So I noticed most of us are Rachel McAdams fans. So how many of us have seen Aloha?
Who the fuck is that?
Me. Rachel was Time Traveler's Wife. She is Eric Bana's wife in Time Traveler's Wife.
Never seen it.
It's Sophie and mine favorite movie.
Sophie, have you watched Aloha?
I don't think so.
I did, but it was because of Emma Stone.
I will agree. That's the only reason I watched it. However, it wasn't horrible for what it was.
No, yeah, it was a rom-com. It was a goofy one-off rom-com movie with with Bradley Cooper.
Yep.
And whoever Krasinski, Jim from The Office.
Yes, the hands.
The only thing I've ever seen her in is Mean Girls.
Holy crap, I forgot she was in Mean Girls.
I never saw Mean Girls.
Yeah, for being a film that's targeting teenage girls, it's pretty funny.
Do you think that it's aged well? Could I watch it now and have some appreciation?
I don't know. I haven't watched it in 15 years.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? No, it's funny that you bring this. It's funny that you bring that up, though, because my girlfriend works as a costume designer on and off Broadway, and she was telling me that recently a theater did a production of Mean Girls. It's been staged as a musical, and they changed up some of the elements to sort of modernize it and add social media into the story to make it not feel like high school girls in the 90s. And it actually led to a really interesting discussion, which because in the movie there's this thing called the burn book where the clique of popular girls just write mean, heinous shit about everybody in school. And it's nowadays that would be a Tumblr blog. It wouldn't be an actual physical notebook. And it was just kind of interesting to sort of think about that. So long story short, no, it has probably aged terribly.
Okay.
And it has Lindsay Lohan as the leading lady.
Oh my God! Back when Lindsay Lohan was Lindsay Lohan, and not Drugs Presents Lindsay Lohan.
When did that?
This was pre-disaster Lindsay Lohan.
What has she made a movie post?
Nobody cares. So I'm sorry.
We're brutally honest. And Oh, yes.
Actually, a couple movies came out. I had no idea that they came out even. Maleficent 2 with Angelina Jolie. I still think it's hilarious that Angelina Jolie is playing a witch because I think it's iconic of what happens to all women in Hollywood after they hit 40. It's just like, yeah, you're not young and pretty anymore, but hey, you can play a witch now. So I think that's kind of bullshit. I just thought it was funny that Maleficent 2 came out and had like a really low rating. And also, they made another Jumanji movie with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Oh,
Yeah, that was big. You didn't hear about that?
I heard nothing of
Jack
that.
Black is in it.
Yeah. No, I know. The first one, Jumanji: Rise to Wherever, that has Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and I almost said Jack Black, and who's the tiny guy? Kevin Hart, and Amy.
I'm gonna just correct you there. You mean the second Jumanji movie, and the last one was the third one, because
Yes,
the
okay,
best
I'm
one
sorry.
was the first with
The
Robin
best one
Williams.
was Robin Williams. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, another release there that I had absolutely no idea it happened, but it did.
And
then
Robin Williams' daughter broke the internet last week too.
I didn't hear about that. What'd she do?
There's this Instagram filter that matches you with your Disney character or whatever, and she got the genie.
Ooh.
Which, for those of you that don't know, Robin Williams played the genie in Aladdin, and it was pretty good.
Robin Williams was in the best Aladdin.
I don't. Do we even count that one?
Oh, we
I
have
actually
to
saw,
go.
like a really interesting YouTube videos where it documented the whole history of Robin Williams agreeing to be in that movie, and apparently it was like a crazy shit show, and it made it went really bad between him and Disney, and like there was a reason he didn't work on a Disney film for like 20 fucking years after Aladdin.
Is this what one could chalk up to quote unquote creative differences?
He made it part of his contract that they couldn't sell merchandise using his name.
And then they did.
And then that's all they did.
Yeah. And then
They basically
did.
slapped his name on fucking everything, and he was like, "No, I made this movie because like you sold me this movie, and like I wanted to do it. I thought it was great, and then you went and just used my name to make a ton of money on merchandise that I explicitly did not want you to do." So he basically fucking hated Disney after that.
Yeah.
He is one of those guys that I loved him as an actor, and the day that he killed himself was one of the saddest days ever.
Mm-hmm.
I actually caught. I think the last thing that I saw him in was an episode of Louis, where he was. He and Louis were just. I remember the scene. They were just sitting on a park bench talking like life or philosophy of comedy together, and it was really fantastic. So, yeah, he could be a really hilariously funny guy. He could be a really coked up, insane guy, and he could also be a really serious, kind of warm guy.
His role in Good Will Hunting was one of the best performances.
That's another great movie.
Of that type of gravitas and like respect. I just got so much respect for him after that. Like he went from being that funny man to being this incredibly deep actor.
Good Morning Vietnam, another one of these great serious roles. I mean, it was kind of a comedy, but it was just a great movie.
Well, yeah, he did. And that's what I think he was good at. Is he did a good string of movies that were both funny and serious. Like he did a lot of his funny movies, and that's what I think he was best known for. But his funny and serious ones were great. Another one that I really liked was Patch Adams.
Oh, great movie.
Like that was a good, funny, serious movie.
Where Dreams May Come.
Oh Christ! Where he's like dead and he's exploring the after. Yeah.
He's trying to save his wife from the suicide realm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if he made a bad movie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Wild
because
Dogs,
I can't go 10 minutes without being a complete asshole. I'm just gonna bring up 1 hour photo.
Bring up what?
1 hour photo.
Yeah, that one bombed, didn't it?
No, nobody remembers that movie. I sure remember
Yes.
that movie.
Yeah, that one
Oh.
bombed real hard.
He was. He even played the creepy guy well, though. Like, just because the movie sucked didn't mean that Robin Williams sucked in that movie. Like, he was probably the only bright side in that movie. Creepy as fuck, but he definitely acted well. I was thinking more the comedy with John Travolta. I want to say it was. I'm thinking Wild Hogs, but that's not it. The fuck is the name of that movie? They were partners or whatever, and they had to save their kids at a zoo.
Old Dogs.
Old Dogs. Yes. That's yeah. It wasn't
The
a great
tagline
movie.
was "Sit, stay, play dad." Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Great times.
Yeah, it was good times. All right.
Yeah, we should probably wrap this up. So I want to special thanks to Sophie for suffering through this with us. We really appreciate it. And
Thank you,
we
Sophie.
hope you come back. We love you.
Thank you for telling us about your shenanigans in Red Dead.
Yes. And next time you can't talk as much. All right.
That's my fucking joke. Don't step on my A material. I have way too little of it.
And Masami, not a single dad joke.
That's true. I made a couple dad jokes. I out dadded you. What the hell?
Oh. I think
You
you just
still-
threw down the gauntlet.
Yeah, now she's pissed. Masami, you still got like 30 seconds. You can cram in some dad jokes here.
I'll blame it on the fact that I am sick. That my brain has not come up with a suitable way to pun you into the depths of dadism.
She's just been distracted by Star Trek.
Actually, it's done. Or no, it's not Star Trek. It was Star Wars Rebels,
Oh,
which
okay,
is now
whatever.
done now. So
Yeah, which by the way is the last season too. Are you on the last season?
we just got through it all. Yeah, we'd seen everything but the last season, and a nice family member giving us Disney Plus has helped rectify that.
Nice.
All right,
Always nice
everybody
to
watch
have a family.
Mandalorian so we can do a podcast about Mandalorian, and then I can rip on the new Star Wars movie.
Okay, Dad, we'll take our assignment and see what we can do.
All right. Well, I guess thanks to the rest of you guys for joining. Thank you all for listening, and we'll catch you next week. Peace.
Penis.
That is
Betas.
vagina.